In this video, I'm going to show you 3 tips that I use for live looping no matter which looper you have. Hey guys, it's JP. Welcome to the channel. If you've never been here before and you want to learn all about music tech and looping, then start now by clicking the subscribe button, hit that bell, and you won't miss anything. So looping and live looping is a big part of this channel, and I want to show you 3 tips that I use to help you in a live environment, no matter which loop pedal you've got, whether you've got a 1-phrase looper, a 6-phrase looper, this one like the Head Rush, which is a 4-phrase looper, and they've got effects or not. So I'm going to show you some techniques that are going to help you up your looping game. The first one is undo, redo. It doesn't matter which looper you've got, whether you've got a 1-phrase looper or not, but I'm going to show you a quick tip if it has an undo, redo feature. And this is actually using a 1-phrase looper like a 2-phrase looper. So I'm going to create a quick beat and then I'm going to create some harmonies on the top. And the idea behind that is the harmonies are for the chorus. And I'm not using all the other layers, I'm just using track 1 or loop 1, whatever you want to call it, 1 phrase. And then I'm just going to put some harmonies down, and then we're going to talk about it a little bit. Okay, so we have our beat, we also have our harmonies, and they're all on track 1. Now with this particular looper, it actually does it all in layers, and you can actually peel each layer back. Ignoring that for a second, what we can do is we can completely undo the last recording we did. We've got the beat, and then we've got the vocals on top. So imagine that's the chorus. I sung the vocal harmony bits for Free Falling by Tom Petty, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this, and then we have an undo, which is just here. Now some loopers have it on the same button where you've got to hold it down for a couple of seconds and then it disappears, and what we're going to do is we're going to take that off, and there we go, it's gone. But it hasn't actually gone. What we can do is we can bring it back. So what we could do is I could create all that at the beginning, hold that down, and then I'm ready to sing verse 1. So sing verse 1 with the beat. I normally play it a lot slower than this. This is just for demonstration reasons, but let's just say we do the beat and we're singing it, we're going through the verse, and that's fine. And then we get to the chorus, and I'm free falling. So all I did was a redo, and what that does is it redoes what you've undone. So that is a redo undo, where you can basically put a second layer on. So you've got your first layer underneath and you've got your second layer on top, and you can take that away and bring it back as many times as you want to. So I'm going to take it away. I'm going to bring it back. So it's a nice, really clever way of, if you've got a, say, 1-phrase looper, if it's got an undo, redo, it's a nice, clever trick to use that almost like a second loop if you're bringing it back for a harmony, or maybe you want to break it down, you want to take stuff away. The next little trick is not really a trick, it's timing. And I know what you're going to say, but it's timing. When I see a lot of people looping, you see them just go in, and they just hit it and they go start looping, but they haven't got a groove or they haven't got a feel for it yet. So what you might find, and you see this on my performance videos, I'll start kind of I'll start getting a rhythm for the guitar before I hit the looper. And the reason for that is twofold. One, because you want to get that groove and you want to be on the bar 1, beat 1. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and record. And then that's the point where you're in, but you feel like you're already part of that beat. And then the second reason for it as well is because you've practiced it a little bit, maybe even 2 bars, 4 bars before you've hit record, you're more likely to be in time with that groove, and then also you're more likely to hit it when you get to the end as well, unless you make a massive mistake. Now it depends on what kind of thing you're doing. If you're playing with a guitar, or if you're using your mouth, or whatever you're doing, if you're hitting drums, you're creating a beat already, I would really recommend don't hit record right from the very beginning. Give yourself 2 bars, give yourself 1 bar, just to go 1, 2, 3, and just to literally get that rhythm going in your arms or in your feet or whatever you're doing, just because if you go straight in, you could stagger or you could make the loop will be fine, but then you could be a bit wavy in between it and it might sound out of sync. Now, I gave this tip in a previous video. If you haven't seen that, I'm going to leave it in the cards right now. And that's 5 tips to loop like a pro. And this one is all about deconstructing the song. What I mean by this is think of the song, maybe you're doing a cover or your own song, think of it in its entirety, think of all the parts that it has, and then start pulling it apart into its bits. There's 2 versions of this. You're going to start pulling apart the instruments, so the different instruments that are used, and then also pulling it apart into whether it's a verse, a chorus, or a bridge. So in this example, I'm going to be using one of my songs, which is called Old Hill. You can go and check it out if you wish. And it's something that I've been looping for over 15 years, and it's one loop progression that goes round and round and round. And in that example, I used a multi-phrase looper and I split it up into its instruments as opposed to a bridge, a verse, a chorus. So in serial mode, you could do that where you could break it into like a bridge, a verse, a chorus, and then deconstruct it that way. Or if you've got one phrase loop that kind of goes round and round, you can then start splitting it up into its parts. This is really useful as well if you've got a multi-phrase looper, because what you can do is you can either use the undo redo option to add a different instrument and then take it away again, or like add a bass, for example, and then take that away again. Or if you've got multi-phrase, then you can then split them up. So track 1 for me is pretty much always the drums, track 2 is pretty much always the bass, and then I'll put 3 and 4, depends whether I'm playing guitar or I'm just doing it on vocals and using either a mixture of harmonies or something weird from the effects rack. So let me show you how I break this down. I'm going to build it up first and then I'll show you how it works. Okay, so we have our 4 loops. Let me break this down. So track 1 is the drums, and on this specific looper, I have a couple of effects. So I used a doubling effect to create my loop. It's actually harmonies, so it's actually got 3 of me. So hello, boom, 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 and it makes it a little bit more deeper. Track 2 you heard was the bass, and I've got a bass effect to make my voice lower. This is all the same size loop, by the way, which is a fixed loop as opposed to a loop of different lengths. And that is on track 2. Track 3 is harmonies. It's about 5 layers of harmonies there. And then on track 4, I don't actually bring that one in until later on in the song, but I just did it for demonstration reasons, that you can have 4 tracks basically, and that is me just singing one of the lines of the song. So the great thing now is, because I've got these 4 separated, I can turn each one on and off independently. This makes a loop a little bit more entertaining, because if you create a load of loops and then you've got that basically to the point where you've added all the loops in and that's fine, you could be 6 minutes into a song and you've not sung a damn thing. Whereas this, you can start building stuff up. You could play a little bit, then build it up a little bit more, and then play a little bit. I would really recommend doing that, even if you've got a 1 phrase looper. Build it up over time. Don't put everything in to begin with. And then what we can do is we can start bringing stuff back in. So we've got those lovely harmonies, but then when I'm going to sing the verse, I'll bring them out. Old hill, so many warriors but I'll talk to you. But then we've got the bass still playing the tune for me, so I can do this completely a cappella if I wish, or I do actually play it on the guitar and put some guitar loops in as well, and then I can bring them back in. It's just another point of interest. And then part of the chorus is, where have I gone in my life? Where have I gone in my life? Where have I gone in my life? Where have I gone? Now in that song there's another section where I actually just sing a couple of sustained words, Old Hill, but I don't want that bit in, so I actually delete that live on stage and then recreate a different loop, because it's like a fifth loop as it were, but I don't want that one anymore because I'm going to sing that live while bringing something else back in. So with a multi-phrase looper you can do lots of different things, but you could do this with a one phrase looper. You just have to be a little bit creative about it, because once you've put that last loop in, then that's the only one you can delete, and then you got another loop on top. You can't delete that one unless it's got that option to peel it back all the way to the beginning. So there's my 3 tips for looping in a live environment and what you can do with a one phrase looper and with a multi-phrase looper. If you found this video useful, then please give it a thumbs up. That really helps me, helps the channel grow, tells YouTube that you like it, and sends it out to more people. If you would like to support the page a little bit further, you can do. You can buy me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com. All the links are in the description box below. If you do have any questions or comments about looping, whether it's one phrase looping, multi-looping, serial looping, I'm a serial loopist by the way, then please put them in the comments section below and I'll answer them as quickly as I can. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.